Hi Leo, my ascendant brothers and sisters, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. I just want to say a massive heartfelt thank you so much for all of your well wishes, all of your get well soon wishes and stuff. It really does mean a lot. I should be back on camera with you guys within the next week, so I'm really chuffed about that. And I just wanted to say thank you, because it really means a lot. So this is your weekly tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for our week ahead key to the week, we have the Temperance card, right? And I mean, if you look at that, it's beautiful. I love these cards. I love all of my cards. I say that about like every single deck, but this one in particular is really beautiful. So look at that, right? So we've got the Temperance card here, and what we're reminded of when we see the Temperance card is that fine line between what it is that we want to create and what it is that we actually have. So look at this. In one disc here, or one cup here, you have water. In the other you have fire. And what does that tell you? They're opposing elements, but when you blend them together, they give you something beautiful, right? In this one, it's creating the rainbow, right? So what happens when you shine the light of the sun through the water that falls? You get a rainbow. And this card, Temperance card, always reminds you that if you can blend the differing or opposing energies that you are faced with in any one situation in life, very often you can come to a satisfactory and sometimes a truly miraculous understanding, right? Whenever I see the Temperance card, I'm always reminded that whatever experience we're having, it's good to look at the meaning. It's good to look behind or beyond what it is that you can see, because very often there is something else going on. There's something else taking place. And this is about going beyond your comfort zone. It's about saying, you know what, where do I find, and this isn't about walking the center line or, where do I find the middle ground? It's about finding the right proportions for everything. As a good example, the sun keeps us warm, right? It gives us light. It helps our crops grow. But if you're in the desert and all you have is sun and all you need is water, that same beautiful thing that does all of those amazing things suddenly becomes very deadly and very dangerous. And so when you see the Temperance card, what it's asking you to consider is what is out of balance. And if something is out of balance, you already know the ingredients. You already know the proportions that something is required in. What are you doing about making that a reality in your own life? The Temperance card, infusing your week as the key to the week, or the energy that permeates all things, is asking you to take a real look inside, to look at the experience that you're having and ask yourself, why am I having this experience? So let's have a look at what the week ahead has in store for us. So this week we get, for your actions in your path ahead, you've got the 10 of Wands. This week you're being reminded, Leo, that sometimes it really is up to you to walk away from something. If something is not satisfactory, if something is not beneficial, and I'm not talking about being a leaver, like a serial leaver or a quitter or a whatever. Sometimes this is about understanding and respecting yourself enough to say, this is a burden I'm no longer willing to shoulder. This is something that I am no longer happy to hold on to, or something that is actually too heavy for me. This is the other thing as well. Sometimes it's really good practice to look at what we're experiencing or what we're holding on to or what we're pushing through, to discover, actually, you know what, I can let this go. It doesn't really serve a purpose. Now, on another level, because this is your actions in your path ahead, your 10 of Wands could literally just be you moving things from one place to another. Your 10 of Wands is also very often a job offer or opportunity of some sort. So you could be starting a new job this week. You could maybe, if you've applied for something, you could be getting the interview this week. You could be getting the invite, which is great, right? This is news from something that you've already put the effort in, that you are now walking towards. For your Communications and conversations. Here we go. 9 of Wands, right? Now is the time for you to speak up. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, whoever it is that you're dealing with, whatever it is that you're working on or through. This is the week for you to speak up about how you actually feel or what it is that you are experiencing. Whenever I see the 9 of Wands, I always say to people, it's time for you to speak your truth. You might have been sitting on this for quite some time. You might have been holding it and saying, oh, you know, it's not the right time to say anything, or you know, there isn't you know, this isn't what's important right now. And the 9 of Wands tends to happen when you've kind of been saying it's not important right now for too long, and then you face that crisis point or that crux point where you can no longer ignore it, where it will no longer be ignored and it needs to be addressed. Because this is in your communications and your conversations, this is what you're talking about, what you're saying. What are your hurts? What are the grievances that you have, or the bone that you need to pick? What is it this week that really kind of needs to be settled? For some of you, this might be an old score. For some, and you know, this is the thing as well, right? This is one of the things that always gets me. Sometimes people are like, oh, you know, well, if it's an old score, it's something that just needs, it's better just to let it go. Sometimes, yeah, in fact, very often it is better to let it go. But sometimes you need to be brave enough to have the conversation. Sometimes you need to be brave enough to open up the dialogue and say, actually, you know what? You did this and it really hurt, or you did this and it affected me. Sometimes it's not necessarily about whether you want an apology or not. Sometimes it's just about opening your mouth to speak on how you really feel, right? Sometimes you need to be the champion for your own feelings and your own thoughts, and what's going to keep you safe or sane even. You know, sometimes you need to be willing to stand up for yourself and defend yourself, whatever that means to you. I mean, look at this as well. You've got the 9 and the 10 of Wands, right? So the 9 says you're nearly there. The 10 says you've already completed the journey. This is, you know, like you're closing out some sort of a cycle this week, Leo. Look at this. In your money and materials, that's a job offer. That is a job offer. That is a promotion. This is your finances taking a big upswing. Your 9 of Cups is, yes, it's healing, but it's also those wish fulfillment moments. And because this is in your money and materials, this is basically, and I said to you, a job offer. So this is whatever you have applied for, whether it's something that's going to bring you more money, whether it's a course that you've decided to take that's going to bring you more qualifications so that you can make more money. This is a great week for that. This is a great week for stepping forward when it comes to your professional life, when it comes to your financial outlook. This is going to be a great week for you. And you might also see that this is going to be that sort of grand balancing. So if you've been experiencing some sort of financial mishap, or you've been worried about money, or maybe it's been moving slowly or whatever, this is the week where you will see some form of regulation, but also some sort of bounce back, which is really, really nice. All right, so for your love and relations this week, you have the Queen of Cups. So your Queen of Cups would be a water sign female. She would be a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. And she's, I mean, I would call her that. For me personally, the Queen of Cups is the archetypal mother and wife. This is somebody that's deeply nurturing, somebody that's very warm, somebody that's very kind. When it comes to familial relationships, this is a week to check in with your mum. It's a week to check in with your mother. Interestingly enough, I think we're coming up to Mother's Day here in the UK, so that makes a lot of sense to me. But it does suggest whether, you know, for some of you, maybe this is your wife, you know, maybe it's definitely a week to check in with them. Do they have something going on when it comes to their health? I'm not seeing anything detrimental. What I am seeing is that this week they would really appreciate your support. You have no idea how far and how well received that sort of little show of concern would be this week. So really, if you can, reach out to somebody. For those of you that are single, it does look like you could be meeting somebody this week, but it looks like this person is already kind of, for a lot of you, if you're single, I'm just going to say this person is a new parent. And I would say, like, let's say between 6 months and 3 years old. So whether you're a male or female is irrelevant. Like, whoever it is that you're connecting with, this person has a new child, which obviously, you know, it's not an issue, but it's something that you might need to consider. For those of you that are already partnered, this looks like your partner really does require some sort of assistance this week, and it could be that they're sort of, you know, maybe they're going to say to you, you know what, I feel like I need a bit more support, or I feel like I need a bit more assistance with A, B and C. Just be open to what it is that they ask for. If you can deliver it, say so, and if you can't, say so. Honesty is really going to be the key this week, because the more honest you are, the more heartfelt the conversation will be. All right, so with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week.